So Institute of Food Science Technologies arranged this practical steps for the State Forest Department for utilization of developing forest genetic resources. In that, they have been provided me for the assessing the forest genetic resource using some computational task like a statistics tools. So ultimately, the statistics is only nearly required for computations. What kind of computation is required? That is the you are the authoritative team being taking the decision making. But whereas simple statistics tools can does it in the every corner of life, but ultimately it requires the deriving knowledge from the given data set. What kind of data set I can use to understand? So collecting data, organizing data, exploring data, interpreting data, presenting data. So how we can collecting data? Data are going to be addressed in the form of de facto de jure census method. In the forest, it is very difficult to. I hope ERT people are explaining the part of the how you can go what the particular each tree. Every tree can easy to measure it or count it, enumerate it. It is very difficult task. Like in the Western Ghat projects, Western Ghat forest, or else in the northeastern forest, or in the Deccan Plateau forest. So such scenario, you've been already previous speaker has spoke over the part of the remote sensing and JS. That also have some limitation. Unmanned vehicles are moving around in a different path of area to cover the images, and they have to predict it with respect to our computations like statistics tools or else in the other machine learning tools and artificial intelligence. Ultimately, we have been obtaining the knowledge, but still it is not much accurate what we are expected to do this. But generally, the forest people, you can support to say that say some 80-90% is there, then it's okay, it's well and good. I can able to predict certain amount of knowledge. So these are the concept we are required to uncovering informations. We are going to be obtained through the pattern and trends of this informations which are exist in the database. So ultimately, we need to collect the data either from the de facto means each tree you can go and enumerate it and measure it, but it is a Herculean task which could not be able to achieve it into the order of this what you can support to be. And even if you fail to do with the help of the remote sensing and GIS, that also has some limitations. Ultimately, we have to understand what kind of information we can need to gathering. But already the forest and environment species repository have been collected into the database with respect to the all this tools like remote sensing, GIS, human enumeration systems, or many more operations with a different range of people's operation. Range of peoples are doing their task with respect to the enumeration task. But area cover in India, density of coverage, rate of growth, either it is the deforestation or afforestation, and which are the endangered species. That is a big task for this endangered species, how we are going to be. Where I worked with some medicinal plant projects. During that time, we have been addressed for the endangered species of medicinal plants. So such challenging tasks we need to understand and how to be focused on these informations. So that is the one challenging task. So meantime, the we have to species repositories are available in the plant, tree, grass. Already my one of our beloved person is introduced me for grass genome sequences. I thought it grass is very little amount of the genes, species and genera. But when I went to the collecting the data or doing this work, then I understood that all the cereals are grass, and in addition to that, banana as well as the sugar cane and Bermuda, switchgrass, so many grasses are there in the across the world. So totally first 6 main species family. Under that 12, under that 34 lakh somethings are there. All this grass genomes have been made it in the already Gramine. So Graminae, which are my data, and Graminae have been going to be compared, and we are reached to the 98 and 99% comparison accuracy has been achieved. What I to say that these are the area which are covered in the species repository into the plant concerns, and others are there, lantana, any more things which have been available in the forest. So this plant is the one area, and the area is the animal. Animal is the vertebrate and invertebrata. Even our setup now is also worked on the project of tigers. So it is a very not practically easy to contributing the works, but such situations how we are going to be collect the data is itself is a challenging task. So that approaches you can have the lot of basic statistics concept as well as the advanced computational aspects like machine learning systems and other things. I would like to address for that. So types of statistics two kinds. One is descriptive and other is the inferential. Descriptive is whatever visualizing the data. Either you have to take the numbers or data and put a chart, put a table, put a graph, anything you have to visualization. That is the you have to depict that data and you can visualize and it can be able to present that. Okay, it could be the range, it could be the mean, median, mode, and standard deviation, variance, skewness, kurtosis. You can easy to understand through the visualizing the data itself, like a graph or tables. But descriptive statistics can able to understand how the data is behaves. Data behave is very important task while you are taking the decision about the any data computations. So once you understood the descriptive, then you can go for the inferential statistics. You have to draw the inference with the existing data, like already I explained in the beginning, uncovering information, trend and patterns are there into the data sets. To infer the trends about the large populations. So I hope how many teak tree there in the your Western Ghat project means n number you can easy to say, but it's not able to count it number what exactly. Sometimes somebody stolen or something is happened in the deforestation, many more. But ultimately we have certain amount of knowledge. So that also we can going to be regress and obtain the correct information based on the inferential statistics. And samples are subject taken from it. Well, and other important types of statistics like predictive analytics. Predictive analytics is a very important task. What might happen if the forest having the rains are there or else in the deforestation occurs or in the landsliding is happens. Many more, even in the last my stories I worked for that in the part of the Kodagu landslides report before the and after remote sensing and GIS reports. So how exactly predictive analytics can be able to give the fingertips of the informations to provide the making decisions about that. That's also one of the challenging one. And prescriptive analytics, what should be done, which you have to understand the predictive, then you have to what to be done, should be done for the how to correct that data, what kind of knowledge I have to draw it and make the things better way. And causal analysis. Why do you go for this? So this concept is very essential with respect to the causal analysis and exploratory data analytics. The previously unknown relationship. We don't know the latan is how much it disturbing the certain area of the forest, which could be it is the parasites would even make the better way. And other peoples are going to be not able to eradicate that Latana, then how do you make the things better with the other way? That also we can able to previously known uh, unknown God is better than known devil. That way you can able to understand that exploratory data analysis also able to play a vital role in this. And mechanistic analysis, that exact changes in the given variable that lead to change their other variable. So I hope you understand that whatever the if the rain occurs, then your flora fauna will be the rain is drought occurs that automatically that will be the change in the respective variable can going to be make a change over this. So these are the some important types of analytics can make the playing the vital role in this. And similarly, which you have to be speak about the taxonomy in tree level, botany level, but whereas in the statistics also we have that some statistical methods. One is descriptive and other inferential. So then someone is the descriptive, you have the univariate and bivariate, and even in the multivariate. So these are the univariate. I hope you can see in the first I told you in the mean, median, mode, and other shapes and centers and spread over to the relation positions. And bivariate are correlations. I hope you have been aware of the correlation and regressions are vital in the bivariate part. And multivariate is multiple regressions is there. These are the descriptive methods. Then, whereas in the inferential methods are applied to mean, comparing the two means measures and other statistics and two groups, t-test and other things. So ANOVA, analysis of variance. So these are the some area we are going to be touch upon it. And statistics, I already spoke about that. And this is the parametric and non-parametric. Again, the parametric, you have the t-test and ANOVA. That I would like to directly go to that parametric part, and which could be the statistical description data. The statistics is described as a numeric data by center variability. Mean always lies in the center, median also center, mode also center. So that's why it can measure it as a measures of central tendency. Statistics describe categorically set of data by frequency, percentage, portion, proportions, and each other categories. And t-test, I hope student t-test used to refer it as a student t-test. If the two students are obtaining the equal percentage, but they have the different subject, they obtain the different amount of marks. In one subject, the teacher A teacher given the 100 marks for the X student. For the B students, he given the less marks. Similarly, B is vice versa, but percentage of means are same, mean are same. But whereas how it is happens, either it is the single sample test for the one group, that also we can test it, or else independent sample for t-test, we have the two means and two groups, no relation between groups. Example, when you want to compare the mean of T of the T given groups of the placebo groups. So such a kind of comparing the means, we can able to address for that. What kind of, even in the same T plants of the, so we have been sandalwood tree from the Western Ghats, sandalwood tree from the I don't know whether it's correct or wrong, in the Deccan Plateau. Both are in the same, genetically could be same, but some other parameter cannot be holds good. Such situations you can able to compare and how to be make the task. And paired t-test, it consists of the sample of units tested. That should be a difference mean of free and post drug interventions, are like in the any your operations can be does it before and after the operations happened in the your forest combo, or many more applications in this. And whereas in the analysis of variance, that the variance is the error actually used to say. How do we make the analysis? So that is the one way and two way, two kinds of analysis are there. So one way is the one factor and complete randomized. The randomized is you should not be go for bias. It should be unbiased, means you have to randomly select the data and you have to obtain the respect to the hypothesis test and use to test of the equality, and three more of the population means also simultaneously using the variance. So that could be the one way. Whereas in the two way, there should be appear in the part of that two-way statistics techniques, wherein the interaction between the factors or influencing variables are that. So if the one way is the one variable and two way is the two variable, that's the three more level of the factors you can support to address it, compare it. But whereas in the effect of multiple level of the two factors also play into the two-way analysis. So these are the designs of experiments. You have to fix the design and then you have to be obtain the observations, and then you can compute that results and can derive the knowledge from the ANOVA. And correlation is associated between the two variables. The two variables are there with respect to the positive correlation, negative correlation, simple and partial and multiple correlations, and linear correlation. always correlation lies between -1 to +1. I hope you can see this. Here it is the 1 +1. This is the -1. If it is 0.1, you have to reduce it. It will be, earlier it was a straight line. Later on it can be scattered. Scattered with the 20%, scattered with the 30%, 40, 50, 60, up to 0 level. 0 is totally scattered. Again, positively correlated. Then you can go on positively. So this is the left division and this is the right division. Ultimately, we will understand data are relations only, neither positive -1 and +1. It should not be beyond that. That's the one kind of simple correlation. And another is negatively correlated. We cannot say that. Even Corona has come to India, nobody death is occurs. That is a negatively correlation. We could not be able to say that is nobody death is place in the part of that. So such situations that even beyond that also how do we make this, and partial correlation and multiple correlation. So only Covaxin or Covishield, which is the partially for this particular disease vaccination can be conducted and get the providing the results. So multiple correlation, both you have to give it and Sputnik also give how it be results are providing. So that relations you can going to be draw the knowledge of the correlations. And linear and non-linear correlations. Linear correlation is very simple, you can able to understand, but non-linears are very difficult. It to be support to be addressed for that the polynomial result data could not be able to make it the task. Such situation also you can able to simplify and make the establishing the relations with the Pearson correlation coefficient. And next is the regression. Regression is the predictive analysis. So regression, I hope we are all played that game during the childhood slides. So sliding what? You have the one slide here, slope. You are climbed up here and you have to slip down here. How long you can do it? Someone what is interested, he can start climbing this side. But up to this extent, he can able to climb it because it is a steep and slippery. So this error always slippery. So this is the intercept. Up to this, we can tolerate. Beyond this area, we can going to be measured through the y. Y is equal to ax plus a plus bx or ax plus b, like a line. The line is also mx plus c. At the same pattern, fixing the data within the predictive line. That prediction happens in the forecasting, that where it occurs, the particular date and time and product, anything you can going to be. So these are the observations we can control through the linear regression, and we can provide the information of the variations in the responsive variable that can be attribute of the variable in explanatory variable. So ultimately, we can predict it. B is the error. So many parameters are there. That time we can go into the multiple regression. B0, B1, B2, B3, B4, B5. All the parameters you can going to put to the line, and everyone have the individual intercept or same common intercept, which could be holds good. That we can going to be address and predict the information through forecasting and reduce the error reductions, and even in the predictive model can be observed for the values of this. So already the ERT people have shown that in the what are the girth, particular girth could be varying for the certain amount. Exact variations also you can be predicted through the regression. And next go to the ChiSquare test. ChiSquare test is the goodness of it, used to say it, goodness of it. It follows the distribution occurs when the observation and independent. Already observed like that, then what could be the expected could be change. That possible changes could be happen to the certain hypothetical independence of the random variable bias with the observations. So this should be the observed frequencies, and these are the expected frequencies. So hypothesis what the gentleman is need to be die is fair or die is unfair. So you can going to be make the rejection of the reason. So coefficient variation is less, then automatically the alpha should be 0.01. That could be chi-square test can be holds good. Or else even in the medicine, even if you are providing the one medicine to the one plant, like some other disease plant, and two different medicines you can apply and make it task, whether it is the particular medicine or improve the life of that disease, or else it will be curb the disease. What kind of knowledge we can going to be addressed with respect to the chi-square test? And another test like a rank test, it's a non-parametric one. The non-parametric rank test is the Wilcoxon signed rank test used to say. So this is the comparing two related samples, matches for the samples or repeated measurements. So such situations, the single samples, I can make it the you can make a put a rank for every data and put them into the order, and then you have to be test with the significance, then obtain whether it the their population is mean rank or it is a paired difference test. So such kind of rank test you can obtain the results. And next is the sign test. So sign test is playing the role like you have to positive sign and negative sign. Then how many, no assumption about the differences, just then hypothetically you have to be put the into the coin tossing and any more other examples, and odd of the observing how much, and likelihood of the pure chances, and these are all probabilistic in nature of the occurrences. Then assumption about nature of the distributions under test. This means that it has general applicability, but may lack of the statistical power alternative tests. So sign test you can obtain the hypothesis is a median of this 58 claims or median not equal to 58 claims, which could also provide the population mean. So population medians, you can about the tree populations or animal populations or any other population of the forest or germplasma populations, you can going to be addressed for the sign test with respect to the electrician sign test. So these are the parametric and non-parametric tests have been addressed here now. Now we shall go to the sampling theory. Sampling is a very challenging one. It visualize it is very small. Sample, you can draw the sample. How to draw the sample? Sampling, you have the different methods are there. That's the probabilistic sampling techniques and non-probabilistic sampling techniques. Probabilistic sampling technique, simple random sample. You have to go and want to test the rice which you went to the shop. Just you are going to take this small amount of rice and then you have to check it. But we don't know, top of the rice is good and bottom of the rice could not be. But it is very difficult to simple random sampling cannot be holds good. Stratified sampling means random sampling means you have to take a top, middle, bottom, and then bottom. These are the way you can try it. That time we can able to understand that you can call it as a stratified sampling. Systematic sampling means every after kg or every after 10 kg or every after 5 kg, I am going to be draw the samples that you can call it the systematic sampling. And clustering and multi-stage sampling. You have to group them into the particular rice, then you can draw the sample out of that. You have to make the cluster and multi-stage sampling, you can going to be address it. And sequential sampling. Every first kg what, next kg what, that way you can going to be make the draw the samples through the sequential sampling. But non-probabilistic purposive. Non-probability means it is the biased one. Probability means unbiased. We don't know what will be draw the knowledge which you have to toss the coin. But non-probability means purposive. Purposive means only I have to take the what are the sandalwood range of the forest. Only I have to draw the sample from the sandalwood.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So purposeful sampling is you have to bias it only. That you have to draw the sample from the only Mysore sandalwood forest range. You cannot be tried in the some other area. So that kind of can refer it as a purposeful sampling. And convenience sampling among the sandalwood forest range forest, only you have to take the such amount of girth samples only you have to trying. That you can call it as a convenience sampling. Consecutive sampling, only which you are drawn from the particular plant, the similar size of plant only you can obtain draw the sample from this particular leaf or any oil or any more things of this. And quota sampling, which the particular girth size is there, then only you have to take the, so girth is less than 1 meter, 1 feet or 2 feet and 3 feet. So by that time you have to make the quota with respect to that. That way you can refer to draw the sampling from this. You can call it as a quota sampling, snowball sampling, and volumetric sampling, and genealogy sampling. Genealogy sampling also genetically you can able to write which are the species about to this. That way you can able to draw the sample. So samples are very important role to play the task. How do we make it? The types of cluster samplings can one stage sampling, two stage sampling, and multi-stage sampling. We can going to be dry with respect to the cluster sampling method. So till now I have been addressed about the statistics tools. Statistics tools are only static in nature. We have to get the data and obtain postmortem only. Online, you want to the present scenario, the digital world is growing like a huge growth, like your thick forest. In such a data also speak about the big data. The data are running, online data are running and generating the huge database and coming over through the cloud and many more source of the informations. Such scenario, the data mining is very essential. While you have to mining is, you require the knowledge which you drawn from the database. You can call it the KDD, knowledge drawn from the database. So data inputs are there. You have to process it, clean it, and data mine it, post processing. Data processing is you have to feature selection, dimensionality reductions, and normalization data set. And all post processing is filtering the patterns, visualization, and other things. Already I spoke about that visualization. Visualization, you can see the one single data, multiple data with a certain within the chart. I can able to accommodate it. It is a nice thing. But beyond that number of the charts, you can going to visualize it. But that is a challenging one that data mining can give the solution for this. So for this data mining, we have the four core types are there. One is classification, clustering, association, and prediction. Data mining as a confluence of many disciplines. One is statistics, data mining with the machine learnings and pattern recognitions. So any data, we can make the cluster, we can make the association, we can make the anomaly, we can make the predictive modeling. So these are the cluster analysis, predictive analysis, anomaly detections, and association analysis are very essential. With the every data we can able to visualize and draw the knowledge. Then you take the decision and make the policy. Unless otherwise you cannot able to, whatever the part of sample data have been drawn and getting result, it would not be same with the generalizing the same result for the whole data sets. But whereas in the data mining, you can able to address for that. This whole confluence of the information we can going to be addressed with the huge data set. For that, we have to collect the data. Data is already clean. Data warehouse are there. Task data mine is there. Then you have to pattern evaluations is there. Then you have to obtain the knowledge. So for that, you have to select some features. Feature selection is there. What are the attributes you are required to be select for that, and search for these attributes and subset of attributes, evaluation, and if it is not essential, you can run in back. Otherwise, you have to go through the top criteria and select the attributes and validate this process. So these are the feature subset selections associated. But everybody is speaking about the machine learning. Our mind is do a lot of tasks, but you can't able to teach that to our mind. Mind is not ready to listen what you are teaching. Mind is not learning, ready to learn for what you are teaching. But what is visualized, that will be learned by itself and it will be influencing for the part of that. So machine learning, you are going to be address it. This is the features. These are the features you have to understand. Then how do we patterns are there across that. I hope you can see this what are the nose or black hairs or whatever the faces, particular face you can observe it. And then you can, while going to the, you take the tree, don't worry about that face. You take a tree of the sandalwood tree, then you have to visualize it. The camera is capturing the information of the sandalwood tree. Then the machine is going across the range of the forest. By that time, how many are there similar pattern of the trees you can obtain across that range? That also you can going to be address it. Already you know that how many plants, trees are there in the particular range, that you can call it as a supervised algorithm. You don't know, but you can obtain through the machine means you can call it as unsupervised algorithms. So supervised algorithm means regression. I need to accuracy of the regression and classification. Unsupervised is and semi-supervised algorithms are clustering. I have to make a group of them. Then I have to obtain the dimensionality of the reductions and graph-based algorithms. And deep learning is also very important role, but it is artificial neural networks is playing the convolutional neural networks and reinforcing learning neural networks are going to be performed. So for that is the dynamic programming, Monte Carlo methods, and heuristic method. Heuristic method is already in the method is known. So say suppose you know that in the village level the people are getting the bore rigging. Bore rigging means the people are called the geologist and he come and pass the signal to the ground level and then you obtain some results, data, obtain the observations, then he can say this amount. But in the some other guy which are in the blind person also holding the sticks and he saying this is the, you are getting a good amount of water. If you have two different rigging, you have to make it. But even the blind people who obtain that results is much yielding for the water. So why? Because already heuristic methods are obtained in the system. Old system is there. But that method also need to address, borrow that knowledge, and you have to introduce into the machine learning model, inducing the model and deduce the knowledge for that. So machine learning algorithms for differences. One is computer vision. I hope already you have seen in the ERT machine you have seen. Similarly, so many methods may come or many other applications may come. Classification, objectives and detection and semantic segmentations. You can going to be addressed for this computer visions. That machine can able to classify or objective detections or semantic segmentations can be done through the computer vision. And natural language processing like a text classifications. Basically, I used to spell it with genome sequences. Genome sequences are also some texts. They are supposed to call it as a strings, set of characters, ATCG, CDG, already 4 DNA nucleotides base functions, and as well as the 20 amino acids and 4 nucleic acids. So that you have to draw the knowledge from that. You have to homolize for the two different genes with respect to the particular plant or different plants or many more applications with this. So that is the natural language processing can play the vital role in the machine learning as well as the classifications and language modeling also perform here. So whereas these addresses are require the global forest watch, which are drawn the knowledge from your websites. So world area experiencing the forest loss, and that also you can able to predict it through the various models. Method models are available, and presently you need not to calculate with the task. Being your officers, you need to only address for the how you can going to be calculate and what are the tools are available in the present scenario. Excel is commonly available in the MS Office. The Excel also playing the vital role. You can going to calculate all the statistics things, and SPSS that also able to draw the knowledge which you are the software. The data is one foot only the task. How do you make it? And what to be calculate that you have to decide and then you have to be obtain the correct result. You have to infer that knowledge about that. These are the two easy available tools and rest of things are machine learning and other more things are available in the data miners are also available in the market, and even in the open source also available softwares. We can going to be use it and implement it to respect to the task. And whereas in the Global Forest Watch, that is the insight been obtained through our one websites. The world are experiencing the forest loss. Only the statement is easy. Then how do you draw this knowledge, derive this knowledge from that whole data set of the world? It is very difficult. Then you can make a cluster, what amount of knowledge loss has happened in the particular clusters or particular range, what not you can going to be addressing. The factors are motivating these losses, difference between the countries and regions, the world's up to highest, highlight the diversity of the forest issues. For that, we require the objectives. One is conservation. I hope you are doing all in the conservation part of the civiculture and many more aspect to that. And either species presently being planted or not, that also we can going to be make the data and obtain the data and you have to derive the knowledge. And evolutionary versus the static conservations. Evolutionary are there, that's fine. Static conservation is there, that's how we're going to be address it. And the conservation status, you can going to be measured through the certain following tasks like a genetic survey. Genetic surveys, I hope many places like in the ICR also have the germ plasma and many more data banks are there in the germ plasma data banks across the world with respect to the many more civiculture tasks they can address. I hope they might have already addressed over that. So genetic survey also very important role, and selection of natural or naturalized populations that also are going to be selected, and test and breeding. Breeding also whether it is good for feasible with respect to the agrochemical zones or else into the soil conditions or else into the forestry environmental conditions. Many more approaches are there with respect to the breeding approach. Even breeding could be happen to the wind, water, and many more. So such situations, how we can going to be calculate these conservations. That also one of the task. And application like soil is the major role. The forest is conserving the soil also. It is not allowed to go for the soil erosions, and soil health also improved by the forest through the carbon sequestrations. So carbon sequestration is playing the vital role into the carbon density area in the particular forest range or else in the across the forest area or in the surrounding the forest area. Many more approaches are happen to be addressed into the part of this. And breeding approaches, which are the endangered species or which are the high yield or what kind of better approaches, better yield is required in the forest, thick forest applications or afforestation aspects. The breeding approaches are going to be addressed with this. And plant germ plasma conservations, that germ plasma banks are there. How do you, what are the germ plasma statistics do you have that, and then how do you improve this? What are the endangers are there? Then how do you propagate that and multiply that? Many more applications are going to be addressed. And genotypic and phenotypics, the genetically could be better or sometimes phenotypically could not be, and phenotypically good and genetically it could not be. That relations you have need to establish, and you have to strengthen the both parameters balancing and approach towards to the task. That also one of the challenges we can going to be addressed for the applications. And survey and predict the endangered species. So I really thrust upon that. Still, we are in the certain amount of species we are going to be losing. So you might have aware of much better than me. But what I have to say, these are also through the data collections and computations and prediction knowledge through the endangered species can be keep survive for the longer period. And remote sensing GIS applications, already people have spoke about that. Even that also have certain unmanned vehicles are going to be addressed it, and different remote sensing engines are improvised, and megapixel cameras are going to be addressed for this. Path area is improved, and recurrent uh, locations and area circulations among the area, that also going to be addressed with the various number of times can grow turn across the particular area, either it is in the geographically or agroclimatically, whatever the area we can going to be addressed for this. So these are the satellite imageries can image processing playing the vital role in the so many area of this computer science. Computer science is the tool for that image processing. Image processing playing vital role, but these are the ready-made. Some softwares have been developed by the many challenging algorithms, and ERDAS and many more softwares have been available in the remote sensing people are ISRO and CARSAC people are using to play it. But till research is going on in our computer science people, and big data is the one task. Big data, huge data you can going to be addressed, and how do we manage the big data, keep the big data into the cloud era, and how long we can keep it, and how we have to reuse it, and what kind of knowledge we have to derive it, what knowledge we need it. That all things you can going to be addressed through the certain information aspects of this remote sensing and GIS. And carbon isotopes, I hope you might have known it in our university. Some researchers have done that work. Even you cut your log and take you somewhere else, and you have to say where you have to borrow that log from the which range or other things. That also you can going to be compute or predict for this isotopes procedure. So such applications you can necessarily look into it. And India is a home to be diverse of the range forest, moist and dry tropical forest, what amount of there, that is also there with respect to the temperature, subtropical, Monenta forest, alpine forest, and scrub forest. It is one of the 17 mega diverse countries, and it has a home 8% of the world known flora and fauna in India. In addition, Indian forest support to the livelihood nearly 275 million people, like a dependent of forests are food, fuel, wood, fodder, and other forest products. These are the one social forest also playing the vital role for this nearby social forestry uh, group or self-help groups are going to be a help to the whole society. Then how much forest is there in India? When Global Forest Watch, the data is adjusted to the tree cover canopy threshold is 10%. It is shown as a 39.1 million hectares in the natural forest and 3.71 billion hectares in the plantation in India, according to the GAFW. And mainly the wood fibers, timbers, fruits, oil, farm, according to the data from special, I hope special database means remote sensing and that which are visualized through the air. So special database of the planted trees also you can visualize and through that. And tree cover in India is as per the 2010 census, 12% of India was natural forest cover. The natural forest cover is 39.1 mega hectares, metric hectares, million hectares, and plantation is 4.24 million hectares. Non-forest land is 272 million hectares. So this is the statistics which have been obtained from this. And primary forest loss in India. So the GFW already told you this, Global Forest Watch. So from that 2002 to 2020, India lost the 349 hectares of humid primary forest, making up to 90% its total tree cover loss in the same time of the period. Total area of the humidity primary forest in India is decreased by 3.4% in the time period. And tree cover loss in India is 2001 to 2020, 1.93 million hectares of the tree covers, equivalent to 5% of the decrease in tree cover since 2000. 951 metric ton of the CO2 is emission. So carbon sequestration and carbon emissions are playing the vital role for in the forest. If you are grow the forest and you can can save the world, not only India. The location of tree covers loss in India. Top 5 reasons of the were responsible for 60% of all tree covers between the 2001 to 2020. Assam had most tree covers loss at 269 kilo hectares compared to the average 55.2 kilo hectares. Thank you.